Okay. Well, let's get this up, shall we? Hi. It's just a... Oh. Hello there. It's another day of Great Ace Attorney. So we actually finished episode 2 last time, so that was great. And yeah, now we're just gonna go straight into episode 3. I don't know what's going on, but episode 2 was basically part of a flashback case, so like I'm kind of wondering. I'm pretty. I have a feeling that this case is gonna finally take place back in the current time period. So I guess we're just gonna see how that's gonna go about. And it is the return of the great departed soul. So we'll just hop right into it. And then as always, it always starts off with a little video narration.
End of the century great exhibition of London. Surely there is not a soul who has failed to hear of it. Wondrous new works of culture and industry from every corner of the globe had converged on Hyde Park, welcoming over 50 million visitors. The last great hurrah of this century. Astonished and delighted people of all nations, and ended on a note of resounding success. But
that's a big fish.
To the terrible catastrophe that occurred during the festivities, very few are aware my friend Mr. Herlock Sholmes had a hand in unraveling the matter.
Oh, so this is from
the
Watson's
shadows,
perspective.
It was he who earnestly unearthed the facts of the case. And like the centerpiece of the great exhibition, which rose high into the skies of Hyde Park, Sholmes's brilliant deductions, as clear and lofty as the Crystal Tower itself, brought the truth to light.
Man, it's really hard for me to not hear Crystal Tower and just immediately think of Final Fantasy.
We're here at the showground of the great
especially when the tower doesn't look like a crystal.
Packed with people. The weather is unusually fine, and we're about to witness a most extraordinary scientific experiment.
Okay. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 20th century will see steam engines and electrical power dominate the world. Horse-drawn carts will give way to the motor car. Ships will sprout wings and take to the skies. And today, we showcase even more advanced technology. A glimpse into the future.
I do enjoy his
A
enthusiasm.
world first. A demonstration of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine.
Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. So it makes you float? Also, who the heck is that guy on the left?
A man will literally be disassembled by a pulse of high voltage electricity and beamed to another location.
Oh, it's a teleporter.
Whereupon
Oh, okay.
his body will be reassembled by a series of complex calculations exactly as it was before.
Well, I was talking about how like I really enjoyed the groundedness of this game in the first game, and then now this is happening. So, like other than like Herlock Sholmes' like inventions, I was like, this is pretty grounded in like somewhat reality. Now that I'm just like, all right, this is happening.
These gentlemen will, in the blink of an eye, complete an incredible journey through the air, to arrive an instant later on the Crystal Tower behind you.
Teleporters, Crystal Tower, it is Final Fantasy. And science. Okay, he's very enthusiastic. Okay, with an intro like that, I'm kind of curious where the heck this case is gonna go, or this episode's gonna go. I wonder if it's gonna be like in the first game, where there was like no court case, but there was like a whole investigation thing for the entire section of the episode 2. That was really cool. So I wonder if they'll bring another one like that in this game. Well, anyways, we're back in Shuln Suite, and we're Renosuke again. Oh god.
Runo, are you listening?
Oh, sorry, what was that, Iris?
What's the matter with you? You've been miles away all morning. Didn't you like what I cooked for breakfast?
No, that's not it at all. What were you talking about again?
Today's paper. It's full of news about the great exhibition again.
Ah, yes. The great exhibition. I'd like to go sometime. Ooh, my tones are all off today. Anyways.
You're really not your usual self today. You seem very down. Don't you agree, Hurley?
Oh, and he is also down. Did you say something, Iris?
Oh gosh, you're even more down.
Oh no. Oh god! Whoa! Wait, when did you arrive, Mr. Naruhodo? I've been here for about half an hour already. We had breakfast together. What? Why didn't you mention it before? I, thought you might have known I was here? You know, because... breakfast? Iris is quite right. You're clearly lacking in vim. So much so that I didn't notice your presence. Thanks. Of course, I could deduce the reason perfectly well with some simple observations. What? Let's see. Yes, for example, your tousled hair this morning with all its unruly spikes. Clearly, it can be deduced, therefore, that... let me stop you there, Mr. Sholmes, because I think I can see where this is going. My hair always looks like this. It always has. Ever since we first met, in fact. Oh, really? Oh, really? How interesting. It just doesn't look like a haircut as such, I suppose. Thanks again. It crossed my mind recently that it's been 6 months now.
6 months?
Since I was forbidden from working in court. So I've been wondering how much longer I'm going to be banned.
Oh. Well, that would explain why you seem rather glum. Don't you agree, Hurley?
Oh, and now he's Depresso Expresso. Again. Did you say something, Iris? Back to moping. What's the matter with Mr. Sholmes today? He seems even more down in the dumps than me.
I know, and the great exhibition has opened. You'd think he'd be excited. Oh, why don't we all go to see it together?
I want to, of course I do, but I can't, not for the time being. Why not? Why not? Why not? Because I'm a great detective, after all. So, you're embroiled in some tricky case that you can't be distracted from? Is that it?
I don't remember hearing that you're working on a case, Hurley.
I suppose I should try to find out what's going on. With a nice converse dialogue option. Half a year ago now, I took on the defense of a young girl in a trial heard at the Old Bailey. What at first seemed like a simple case of murder that took place at a London pawnbrokery. turned out to be one part of a much more far-reaching plot that involved the British government. During the course of the trial, it was found that I made an unavoidable, yet at the same time, unforgivable mistake.
Words fail me. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, my lord!
I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial.
Of course, my lord. Oh, right, he did say that. I didn't completely forget about that. In the end, I had my right to represent people in court revoked. I was told I had to spend my time in research and study, so that's what I've been doing. Well,
You have, haven't you, Runo? Reading all those big fat tomes about British law up in your room, and the notes about Sholmes' old cases.
Brewing Iris's special blends of tea, fetching my daily bread for me. You become something of a manservant around here. Start on the silverware next, Mr. Naruhodo.
well, I'm thinking of going to ask the powers that... be to reconsider. Specifically, Lord Strongheart at the British Supreme Court on Whitehall.
Lord Strongheart?
Ah, the delightful Lord Chief Justice. Not my favorite fellow.
He's not mine either, but he's the man I'll have to talk to. He's the only one who can grant permission for me to start working in the courts again. I came to Britain to become the best lawyer I could, and I can't do that just sitting around here. The whole of London has been swept up in this great exhibition, hasn't it?
The most advanced science, the most modern technology, the finest works of art and feats of engineering. For the next 6 months, our capital will be showcasing these things, and the world will be watching.
Oh, do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to look down on London from one of those lovely balloons.
Look down on... Do you mean those things? Fly?
Yes, of course. They fly high in the sky and don't even need wings to do it. All you need is hot air.
But how? How does hot air have anything to do with flying? It makes no sense. I can't understand it at all.
That's true. That's true of a lot of new scientific discoveries. Most people can't understand them at first. But in 100 years' time, all these things will just be common knowledge.
I suppose they might be.
Mind you, some of the science being demonstrated seems very questionable. Something went wrong on the open experimentation stage yesterday, apparently. There was a huge explosion. Still, I wish I'd seen it, though. I'd love to see how bad some of these scam experiments really are.
Says the innocent 10-year-old girl.
See here. Every page of this paper carries some article or other about the great exhibition. But the brighter things shine, the darker the shadows that are cast behind them. Personally, I find myself drawn to the darkness, to the impenetrable. That is my proper atmosphere.
Nice, we got a newspaper. Shadows cast behind? Is that a metaphorical way of referring to the back page of the paper? Are you investigating a particularly tricky case at the moment, Mr. Sholmes?
You could say that, I suppose.
Nothing more to add? That's not like you. What sort of case?
Shh! Quiet, Mr. Naruhodo. We must not discuss it here. You never know who might be listening.
You're acting very strangely, Hurley.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, usually. The more mysterious and complicated the cases, the better Hurley's mood.
Ah.
Is it really a case that's bothering you?
Iris, please! You mustn't exercise your astute powers of observation and deduction on me without invitation. Remember what I always say. Put yourself in the shoes of the individual about whom you're making deductions.
You say that, do you? You, Mr. Sholmes.
Never mind. Once I've had a cup of tea, I must make my way at once to the crime scene.
That was a deep sigh. Oh, and I didn't mean to present that. I'm an important blink. I'm a more convenient time. Okay, let's try to look at this. So we see that. Okay, so this is a science dude. The Reaper attacked. Lord Van Zieks and compatriot cornered. Compatriot? Ruffians aim to intimidate a man of justice. King Christian VII, ruling rewards to Michelle, lost cat. St. Bartholomew's Hospital. Okay, so this looks like it's going to be pretty interesting. Every article on the front page is news about the Great Exhibition. Public experiments to demonstrate brand new scientific ideas, culture exhibits from around the globe. It's also positive and hopeful about the coming century. We must all go to see it properly before too long. Oh. Okay, that's not too much. Maybe I'll have to come back to this later with more info. So many glowing reports about the Great Exhibition and everything that's going on there. Other than this rather gloomy-looking one, that is. Wait, what?
What's the matter, Reno?
The Reaper attacked. That's Lord Van Zieks! This must be what Mr. Sholmes was talking about. Does he know any more? I wonder. Yeah, he's like even got a dude behind him. Interesting. It says in the paper that Lord Van Zieks was attacked. That's terrible.
You know the legend of the Reaper of the Bailey, of course, don't you? Only too well, in fact.
Yes. Prosecutor Barak Von Zieks. They say that if the Reaper is the prosecutor in a case, there's no salvation for whoever's in the dock. Even if the defendant is found not guilty, once the Reaper has someone in his sights, one way or another, that person's time left on this earth will be short.
London's finest rogues always find ways around the law. They'll stop at nothing to secure an acquittal at trial. Falsifying evidence, paying sham witnesses, threatening jurors, bribing judges. But even such devious tactics as these cannot save them from the hand of the Reaper. As you've experienced yourself, haven't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, I've seen the Reaper's retribution at work.
Many of these criminal rogues are reckless and quite unafraid to die. If a leader among the fraternity is seen to have been taken by the Reaper, retaliation like this does occur. Really, the capital has a never-ending supply of such scoundrels.
So, do you mean Lord Van Zieks has been attacked like this before? This isn't the first time?
He's quite an accomplished combatant, you know. He doesn't take these attacks lying down. Although, it seems that his assailants were armed with guns this time.
Oh my goodness! Is he alright then? Is Lord Van Zieks hurt?
My dear fellow, how on earth would I know?
Well, in the article here it says, as to what of Lord Van Zieks and his condition, all will be revealed in tomorrow's morning edition.
Damn, they're trying to really hook the readers.
Ah, I see. Well, we shall have to be patient then. No, I can't wait until tomorrow. In that case, you shall have to inquire with somebody in the know. But who? Lord Strongheart? Perhaps?
Oh, and he's already in the attire.
Well, I must be leaving now.
Yes, understood. See you later, Mr. Sholmes.
Ha! You really are a shameless liar sometimes, my dear fellow.
What?
You seek to put me off my guard and follow me, don't you? Well, you would be wasting your time.
The thought hadn't crossed my mind. But now I'm wondering where you're going.
Well then, see you later indeed.
And he's gone. Listen to him. He's still laughing on his way out of the door. What the hell?
Alright then, Reno, let's get going.
Oh, Iris? What are you wearing? What are you wearing, Iris?
I've got change to go to the Great Exhibition. You're going to take me.
What? But I was just about to go to the Supreme Court.
Oh, well, that sounds fun too. You're going to take me there then?
Alright, fine. Just lower that weapon, would you?
Of course. And after the Supreme Court, then we'll go to see the Great Exhibition.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to me, honestly. New location has been added. I would honestly really like to would like to go to like a World's Fair kind of thing, you know? I've been to like some stuff here at home, like the Made in Hawaii convention, which is kind of similar in effect, but not really. I guess it's like a similar concept, but not really. Just not great crazy inventions or whatever. It's just more like this stuff is a new product kind of thing. It's kind of cool. It's been about 6 months now since I was last here. But some things never change. Like the sense of foreboding I always seem to feel in this place. Oh, she's having a good time. It doesn't seem to be bothering Iris at all, though. She's happily reading over there. Man, dialogue.
Oh, I love this place. I always find so many interesting books here.
Of course. I was forgetting that you've been here before. The time we came here 6 months ago. Oh yeah, we did come back here. On that one case. When Tsusato-san was given the news that she was to return to Japan. I'm slurring my words today. Bleh.
Ah, I understand you wish to speak with me.
I'm pretty sure that's Strongheart. Yep, that's him. Oh! Lord Strongheart! I trust you've been keeping well?
Oh, let's see. Since you've arrived and requested an audience, it's been 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. I've kept you waiting a while. My apologies.
Oh, no, not at all. I like nothing more than standing around staring into space.
Good to know.
Good to know that doesn't appear to bother him at all. Male Strongheart. Lord Chief Justice of London. He's the man who allowed me to start practicing as a defense lawyer when I arrived in Britain as a student. You need only savor the air for a moment in this grand office to understand his preeminent status.
As you will be aware, the Great Exhibition of London is now underway at last. We're extremely busy as a result, policing the grounds, guarding the new technologies, dealing with petty crime. And furthermore, as of next month, we shall open the International Forensic Science Symposium.
Oh, I've not heard about that.
Investigating authorities from 40 countries around the globe will be taking part, including from your own land. Forensic science is the future. The world must embrace it. As we're the hosting nation, I have much to do. And it is my highest priority. If others must wait for my attention as a result, so be it.
Well, it's nice to know where I stand.
So, you wish to consult with me? Of course, I can very well imagine what this is about.
Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, my lord. I want to be allowed to start working as a defense lawyer again in court. That's what brought me here today. But actually, there's something else playing on my mind, as it happens.
Bruno, just take a deep breath and come out with it.
I actually came here today to ask for your permission.
Go on.
6 months ago, my right to work in court as a lawyer was revoked, and I was told to spend my time studying. Obviously, I'm very sorry for what happened, but the thing is, it made me understand what it really means to defend somebody under the rules of a foreign justice system. And I desperately want to have another go. Please, permit me to enter the courtroom again.
Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes? Here it comes.
I'm sure you haven't forgotten your position here, have you? At best, you are a substitute for your compatriot. This was never your intended role.
Well, that's true. The Japanese government actually sent my best friend on this study tour. Not me. It should have been Cosmo. He was so determined to bring change to our own justice system at home. That was his calling. And if that tragic incident hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here in this office now. Mr. Hosogi was my best friend, you see. That's why I can't leave it unfinished. I have to fulfill his calling for him.
His calling, you say? Has it never occurred to you that perhaps you know nothing of his true calling?
Sorry?
The mission with which that young law student was charged. What do you suppose it really was?
But what do you mean? Mission? He's not making any sense.
Never mind. I've read all the reports you've submitted over the past 6 months. It's clear to me that you regret your actions and have been studiously obeying your revised instructions.
Do you mean...
As of this moment, I reinstate your license to practice law here in Great Britain.
Thank you! Thank you so much!
That's wonderful news, Bruno.
In fact, I believe I have the perfect case to mark your comeback. A curious affair. You'll consider it, I hope.
Of course! Please tell me more. Like, tell me more. Like, did he have a car? You described it as a curious affair?
Yes, that's right.
Oh gosh.
Yes, that's right. I believe it was reported in the press. Are you aware that there was a serious accident at the Great Exhibition yesterday?
Oh. No?
Yes, I read about it. A professor from Germany tried to carry out a crazy experiment.
Oh, he's German.
Let me see. How was it described? Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, I think.
Instantaneous kinesis? As in moving things with a click of the fingers?
That's right. It's just what my herbal blends need. A dash of devil may care.
Whatever this serious accident was exactly, it's clearly captured Iris's imagination.
It's an unfortunate business. A large explosion engulfed the public experimentation stage and a man lost his life. A certain Mr. O.D. Osman, an inventor and a well-known figure in society.
A large explosion?
A man died?
The man responsible for the experiment was Professor Albert Harebrain. Much like his schemes, I suppose. He was detained immediately after the incident and is due to appear in court tomorrow. On the charge of murder.
What? Murder?
If you intend to take on his defense, you should hurry to meet with him at the prison. There is very little time left for you to carry out any kind of investigation.
The Great Exhibition? A scientific experiment gone wrong and... murder? I feel out of my depth before I've even started. Still...
We should go to the prison right away then, and try to meet with the German professor, don't you think?
Definitely!
Ah, yes. One more thing about the case. There's a connection with our mutual acquaintance, the Reaper.
Oh! With Lord Van Zeeks? How?
All sorts of conferences have been taking place around the world to coincide with the Great Exhibition. And next month, the largest and most important of them will all take place at last. The International Forensic Science Symposium.
It does seem as though criminal investigation needs to embrace scientific methods, doesn't it?
Exactly. London, the global epicenter of culture, science, and wealth, now has a population exceeding 6 million. Sadly, crime in the capital is growing at a similarly startling rate. So, it's imperative that we use the latest scientific methods to investigate and resolve cases as efficiently as possible.
Which is what's known as forensic science, isn't it?
Exactly. The future of policing.
Ah!
Regrettably, however, Britain is currently dragging its feet when it comes to the adoption of forensic methods.
Oh dear. That's alarming.
Exactly. It's extremely alarming. If I were Her Majesty's Attorney General, you can be sure the numbers of crimes committed and resolved in London would be very different than the current figures. And I can cite 12 solid arguments and 223 individual reasons to support my claim.
Sorry?
By the way, of apology for keeping you waiting earlier, I shall detail everyone now.
What?
Oh, how fascinating.
It all began 15 years ago. I was my father, my mother, and that more or less sums up my feelings on the matter, in the simplest of terms, of course. Essentially, to formally establish a forensic investigation division within Scotland Yard, that is my mission.
Oh, right. Yes, that's wonderful.
Exactly. Wonderful is precisely what it will be.
Iris isn't paying attention at all. She's got her nose in another book now. But I mean, that book could have all of his reasons in it. No, she wasn't listening.
Oh, Is it over? Did you learn anything useful?
I actually drifted off for the most part. He's surprisingly ardent about forensic science. If you let your concentration slip, you might miss what people say. Maybe we can ask about the newspaper. Oh yeah, that's right, we were gonna do that. Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen this?
The reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition? Of course.
No, not that. The story on the back page.
What story? The Reaper attacked. Ah, that. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not?
Poor Mr. Reaper. What happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he?
There's no need for concern. Lord Van Zieks would not be so easily dispatched, I assure you.
Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know.
Very well. If it interests you.
It does. Strangely. You know, it's just... Man, I just... Basically for Renosuke, it's like when you watch anime and you know that there's like a manga that like it's definitely far ahead of it that it's being adapted from, and then he's just like, I just need to know what happens. You know? And I can really get that feeling.
Fortunately, Lord Van Zieks emerged from the attack unscathed. Street ruffians are no match for that man. He's a very capable fighter.
But that's incredible. They were armed with guns. Why was he attacked, though? Do we know?
It's related to events that occurred a month ago. A leader of one of the capital's criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by Van Zieks. But the man was acquitted. I've no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes.
Large sums of money?
A deplorable situation. Members of the jury were bribed, it seems. However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question got a dramatic end yesterday.
But you're not suggesting that was the work of the Reaper, surely?
The victim's henchmen certainly seemed to think so. He was a man by the name of Asman. Mr. O.D. Asman.
Did you say Asman?
That's the man who died in the big explosion at the Great Exhibition.
Oh.
Yes, known publicly as an investor, but in reality, the head of a significant criminal organization.
Unbelievable. I wonder. Can I ask you something, Lord Strongheart?
Try me.
Why do you use Lord Van Zieks as a prosecutor? All the criminals who manage to get off in court then meet with mysterious ends outside the courtroom. And fearful of that fate, they seek to strike at Lord Van Zieks first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but still. Something's clearly going on here.
I have Van Zieks' work for the prosecution service for 2 reasons. Firstly, the man is the best prosecutor in the capital, bar none. And secondly, any deaths of criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trials are nothing to do with him.
But that doesn't make sense. How can you explain the way so many have died if not by someone's hand?
Van Zieks may have earned himself the moniker of the Reaper, but he is no killer. So he will continue to prosecute on behalf of the Crown. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course.
He seems to really believe in Van Zieks.
Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement. I'm already 11 hours and 16 minutes late. My colleagues must be starting to fidget.
11 hours late? That's quite something.
That meeting had already started when I arrived back here for this engagement with you. So, lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man.
I'm sure it stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. Oh yes! Where would I find Lord Van Zieks now?
I would assume he is at his office.
Right. I'll go ask him about the attack in person. I want to get this straight from the horse's mouth.
Away with you now. I am leaving Professor Hairbrain's defense entirely in your hands.
Of course, yes. Thank you very much, my lord. I really can't tell if this guy's like gonna be like the secret villain at the end of the game, or he's just really nice, but definitely the game art and like like this game's art where he's like in the background definitely gives off the impression he's not that great. The warden said cell 11. That's this one.
Oh, there's somebody curled up in a ball in the back corner. Look.
What's his name again? Professor Albert Hairbrain, wasn't it? Excuse me? Professor Hairbrain? So he's German, right? Who are you? How do I do this? I am Naruhodo. I'm Rinosuke Naruhodo. I'm a defense lawyer. A lawyer? Ah! Was it something I said? Ah, a lawyer, you say? Would you be here about the experiment? Are you going to defend my hypothesis? No, wait. I don't know what accent I'm trying to do. Your hypothesis? Sorry, I don't. Yesterday's demonstration. The demonstration was the magnificent demonstration was. It was an out-and-out success by anyone's calculations. But despite that, no one listens. No lawyer believes in the science. No, that's not the right. How about I just make him sound really nerdy?
When it's explained, they all leave at high velocity.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Heh.
No, it's probably not a good time to mention that your zeal made my concentration leave for a while, too. Yeah, I don't really know how to voice this guy, but I'm just gonna go with that. You mentioned the demonstration yesterday?
The papers have called it a spectacular failure. After all, a man died in the explosion, didn't he? Yeah! Yes, you could interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense, the experiment was a failure, but at the same time it was a great success.
You've lost me.
I saw it with my own eyes, right there in front of me. Mr. Osman was spontaneously disassembled. Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculations had predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the Crystal Tower by instantaneous kinesis. However,
the machine exploded and Mr. Asman in fact perished?
Yes, I can't deny that part of the experiment was a failure.
So what you're really saying is the large explosion that killed Mr. Asman was an accident, correct?
But the bigwigs had you arrested on suspicion of murder. is responsible for a man's death. That is the immutable truth here. And for that, I wish to be punished at once. But... Murder? Never in a million years. It was an accident. Simply an accident.
I see.
Haley and I were talking this morning, you know. He said the situation would change completely depending on whether it was treated as an accident or murder.
How exactly?
Well, if it really was an accident, then the professor's machine would be kept in protective custody.
On what grounds? How does Heinz Doofenshmirtz sound again?
Ah, Perry the Platypus! Perry the Platypus! As you can see, it is completely expected.
Maybe something like that.
Ah, yes, it's newly established here in Britain. The Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act.
That one passed me by.
But if the case is treated as murder, then they'll say my machine wasn't the murder weapon, and they'll be able to pour over it as much as they like. If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea. My hypothesis will be stolen. The machine must be protected from that at all costs. That's why it's impressive this whole incident is shown to have been an accident in tomorrow's trial.
Ah, I see now. So in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition showground yesterday.
Yes!
Alright.
Rather no. The devil is in the details. Strictly speaking, there was a terrible explosion.
Sounds the same to me.
You were demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? How fascinating. Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible, using a sufficiently high voltage to break those bonds and beam the particles through space. That's it in a nutshell. That's my idea, you see? That's my amazing hypothesis.
Gosh, that's an unimaginably high-level science.
Oh, but dare to imagine it. Dare to dream of such incredible technology. Just think, one moment I could be here in this cell, and the next, I could be at the Great Exhibition again.
Well, yes, that would be incredible.
And the next, in a mere blink of an eye, I could be at the Great Parisian Theater, say. The possibilities are endless. The whole of our planet would be within reach.
So no more hiding in wardrobes on rocky seas for 50 days?
I don't really see it like that.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, the planet wouldn't really seem that vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like it had shrunk. My word! That's exactly right! What are the implications? What does this mean? Oops! That's got Professor Bunnybrain really worried by the look of it.
Clearly, this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose.
The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works. But without a practical demonstration, it means nothing. And that's always the fly in the ointment. Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money. Money that young scientists like you don't have. That's exactly it, yes. Haley's always complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science. Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Osmond.
Ooh, sorry. The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Adi Osman, isn't it? Odi Osman. Asman. What exactly was your relationship with the man?
He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. He said he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thanked my lucky stars.
I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then?
Money for scientific research. I'm so envious. As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel.
Oh, really?
An archangel, even. He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for presentation at the Great Exhibition. And if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research from the British government. Mr. Asman provided me with money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine to my precise specifications. But then your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion. As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Asman. I would never, ever have thought of taking the man's life.
Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. Can I prevent you this newspaper?
How could this have happened?
You must feel awful. As well as a man losing his life, the Crystal Tower was greatly damaged too.
I know what happened. It must have been that.
That?
The day before the demonstration, I had my usual meal of frankfurters at the hotel restaurant. When I paid the bill, they gave me 3 shillings too much in change. But instead of saying anything, I just slipped the coins into my pocket. They're still there now. It's divine retribution for my wrongdoing. That's what this is.
For a scientist, he has some very illogical anecdotes. Long and illogical. Well, I guess I can't really get much else out of this, so let's go to Van Zieg's. Maybe he can provide us with more stuff. Oh my god, he just has a collection of chalices and wines for the fact he destroys it so often.
Oh, so this is the legendary Reaper's office?
Yes, it appears so.
It sends a chill down your spine, doesn't it? What an amazingly deathly atmosphere.
Oh. Is that? Who the hell? The hooded figure was so still I hadn't noticed his or her presence. I wonder who it is.
What are you doing? What are you doing here?
Oh, yep, it is him. He's as unwelcoming as I thought he'd be. Actually, maybe even more so. Oh, I'm glad to see you're well.
I am.
So, who's the person over by the wall being punished for something or other?
No punishment is taking place here.
Oh.
That's my apprentice. And he's sitting there of his own free will.
I didn't know you had an apprentice. Oh. He must be the same person who was pictured in the newspaper.
He's very able in combat, A requisite skill for anyone under my tutelage.
Are you referring to the attack on the Reaper that was reported in the papers?
The Reaper? I'd be interested to know the Reaper's true identity myself. Assuming that is such a fabled fiend genuinely inhabits our great courtrooms.
Oh, interesting. The way he interprets it is, there's definitely somebody else. It's not me. Lord Strongheart said that the assault last night was some sort of revenge attack?
True. Carried out by a henchman of Audie Osmond's criminal organization. The investigation meant their arrests were imminent. Presumably, some hope to kill me before that happened.
Audie Osmond. Odie. Audie? Odie. Let's see.
He's always masqueraded as one of London's most powerful financiers, a global investor. But his enormous wealth came to him by underhanded means, via his criminal activities. My learned Nibnese.
Yeah, that's the voice I went with, I think.
And he used that money to buy himself a verdict of not guilty when he found himself in court, didn't he? Being prosecuted by you, Mr. Reaper.
But the man got his comeuppance in the end. Yesterday, in fact, in extraordinary circumstances. It was a most unusual cause of death.
I know about that. It was super high voltage instantaneous kinesis gone wrong. Mr. Asman died when the demonstration on the public experimentation stage ended in an enormous explosion.
Correct. And you think I have some kind of divine ability to cause an accident like that to happen, do you?
Well, no, that does seem a little far-fetched. If this man really is the fabled Reaper, then he has to be innocent of this particular death, at least.
It's strange how this worked out, isn't it, Runa? I mean, what with you taking on the Professor's defense for the trial tomorrow?
What? You're going to be defending him?
Oh, yes. That's right. Though I barely know the man's name yet, to be honest.
Albert. Albert Harebrain.
That's right. Do you know him by any chance?
Of course. He's a contemporary of mine. We were at university together.
You're...
What?
They were in college together? That's cool. Let's do the Reaper's identity first before we do that. What do you mean by what you said before? If you'd like to know the Reaper's true identity, does that mean...
I'm a crown prosecutor and a mortal like any other. I'm no demigod.
But they've all died, haven't they? The people you've prosecuted, I mean. Whether or not the trial ended in a conviction or an acquittal.
Those I prosecute are the vilest wretches of our society. People who, without question, deserve to be found guilty. The world is a better place without them.
But... that's not true of Mr. Natsume, for example. He wasn't a vile wretch at all.
Nor was Jenny, in fact. She's ever so hard-working now.
I can't deny that, since I encountered you. Things have taken a turn. But the point is this. If any of those vile wretches that escaped justice subsequently died in mysterious circumstances, it was at the hand of their own kind. It's not my work.
Lord Strongheart said the same. He believes you're not involved in any way.
But you were attacked by those ruffians because they believe it's true.
The fact is, since people started to call me the Reaper of the Bailey, the number of serious crimes in the capital has dropped substantially.
Oh.
It would appear that even the most hardened criminals can be made fearful for their lives.
Do you mean to say?
I mean to say that if my pseudonym serves a useful purpose, I adopt it gladly, and with honor.
But it's putting you in danger! You could be killed!
If that is my fate, let God decide.
Lord Van Zieks. Damn, man. That's heavy. I'd understood that Professor Harebrain was from Germany, though.
Harebrain's from a respectable British family. After graduating from the University of London, he moved to Germany to carry out research. That's all.
Oh, he's British. Okay. Maybe that'll change the accent a bit more. I'm actually not too sure. I mean, I could always stick with the really off Doofenshmirtz. It's just fun.
For a professor, you know?
So, you were students together.
I was in the faculty of law, of course, and he in science, so our paths rarely crossed. But curiously, we got along. Though I've not met him since my university days. I certainly didn't expect our next encounter to take this form. And with you, of all people, representing him.
Only if I can make it out. If only if I make it out of this office alive. He's actually been charged with murder, it seems.
Yes, I know. Because the prosecution will be handled by me.
By you? But you made it sound as if you and the professor had been friends.
We are friends. We are friends. It's true.
Then why would you do this?
If the Reaper is the prosecutor, there's nothing anyone can do to save him. He's doomed.
I don't know about that, Iris. Like, we have two people who are fine. What's Lord Van Zieks thinking? Can I ask more about it, I guess? Well, now that we know that they're college buddies, then I can go back to, like, the professor and maybe he'll have something more to say. Lord Van Zieks, about the article in this paper.
Ah, yes. It seems there was a reporter nearby when that little skirmish took place. I have no idea I had been photographed. It was careless of me.
Oh, we can try and talk to the dude in the office, though.
It looks as though it was taken after the people who attacked you had run away, though.
Rest assured, the police have already apprehended every last one of them.
But there's someone else fighting alongside you, it seems. And I think it's the same man who's sitting over there as we speak, isn't it?
As I mentioned already, he's my apprentice.
Perhaps you could tell us a little more about him? Ooh, cool.
He's in my tutelage to become a prosecutor. So you could say he's my apprentice, I suppose.
Like you are the Hurley then, Runo.
I don't remember taking an apprenticeship with a great detective.
He's currently compiling a report about last night's attack.
It looks like he's wearing some kind of mask?
On Lord Strongheart's orders. Nobody knows the man's face, or indeed his identity.
But why would you agree to take on such a clearly suspicious individual?
Lord Strongheart's orders again. He's not one for meaningless follies. There will be a good reason for his actions.
I hope you're right. That lower jawline looks very familiar to me. Kind of looks like Cosmo? The lower jaw, you know?
The task is complete. Good. In that case, you can collate all the briefs.
Nice to meet you? Back to work again. That was really strange, though. I've never met the man before. I didn't even know he existed. And yet... somehow it didn't feel like our first encounter. That's fucking Cosmo, isn't it? It's gotta be. The fuck? Oh, we don't have his profile anymore, but that's definitely Cosmo's chin, right?
Don't bother trying to converse with him. He says nothing to anybody from outside this office. Lord Strongheart has strictly forbidden it.
Oh, I see.
Why are you so interested in my apprentice anyway?
Oh no, I mean... Sorry, I didn't mean to. The way he stood there so casually, yet with that flawless posture. It couldn't be. It really is fucking Cosmo. If even Renosuke sees it, it's gotta be Cosmo. Like, what the fuck? Alright, I guess he's alive? What? Alright. Alright. The conspiracy deepens.
Ah, yes, there's something I've been meaning to ask you.
Oh! What's that?
That Nipponese man. Is he faring well?
Sorry?
The one arrested twice since the succession 6 months ago. With the stoop. And the mustache and the jitters.
Ah, Mr. Nutsmay, you mean?
I'm not sure he'd be very pleased to find out you identified him from that list, Reno.
He's fine, thank you. In fact, I received a letter from him by international post only the other day.
I see. Well, I think we can end our discussion there, don't you? There's little time left before tomorrow's trial. I advise you to spend it investigating the case.
Yes, thank you for the advice. And for the conversation. I can't believe he's asking after Saseki-san. After a Nipponese. I'm not sure whether to feel happy about that or worried.
I never imagined that Mr. Reaper would be friends with a mad scientist, did you? That's a turn up for the books.
A mad scientist? Ah, you mean Professor Harebrain? Yes. It might be worth quizzing the professor about his relationship with Lord Van Zieks, I think. I guess we can just continue the conversation here. I understand Lord Van Zieks is a friend of yours from your university days?
Yes, that's right. He was studying law whilst I was studying science.
What was he like back then?
A good question. Unassuming, gentlemanly, an all-around nice fellow, really.
Sorry, I think you misheard me. I'm talking about the cold-hearted, merciless prosecutor, Barrack Von Zieks. What was he like when he was at university?
Talk about a leading question, Runo.
As I said, an unassuming and extremely pleasant gentleman. After all, he is the little darling of the Van Zieks family, with all its great aristocratic origins.
I didn't realize he had such a noble blood.
Little darling?
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock when I came back to Britain and learned what he'd become. The Reaper of the Bailey, no less.
Yes, that's right.
I did hear, though, that there was a very big event in his life that completely changed him after graduation.
Really? What sort of event?
I'm sorry, but I don't know anymore. I wasn't in the country at the time. I was in Germany already.
Oh, yes, of course. If he's heard all about the Reaper, I really don't have the heart to tell him that Lord Van Zieks will be the prosecutor in court tomorrow. I guess that's the last question we can ask about. So, Professor, let me just make absolutely sure I've understood you properly. The huge explosion that occurred yesterday, that was an accident, you're saying? You had no intent to harm the victim, who was in fact the sole investor in your work. Is that correct?
As correct as 2 squared is 4. I swear it. Yes, it's true that the man perished in the machine of my invention. So I know that I'm far from blameless in all this. But still, I would never use my discoveries for my inventions to take a person's life. Not a centillion years. I'm a man of science. It's all I know. You have to believe me, please. Do you believe me? Do you believe in my hypothesis? Science is the pursuit of truth, you know. I've always believed that. All my life.
I'm afraid I don't know much about science, or your theories. But I do believe in you, and I will fight to prove your innocence with all my might. I'm a man of the law. It's all I know. You have to believe me. Please.
When I went to live in Germany after I graduated, I learned something very important. Nationality, class, lineage, none of that matters. As long as you try your hardest, you can achieve anything.
Thank you for that, Professor.
And thank you in advance for defending me tomorrow in court.
All right, Runo, it's time. Time to visit the great exhibition.
Sorry?
Well, that's where the incident happened, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose that's true. Time to investigate at last! Wow, okay, yeah, usually there is at least one more dialogue option for, like, these two, so... I think we have to come back to these two later. And, yeah, I guess we're going to the experimentation stage. Ugh. The showgrounds are a little too big for my liking. We've been walking around in dense crowds for 2 hours now, and I've felt myself swooning 3 times.
There are a lot of people, aren't there? I've almost been trodden on 3 times too.
Be careful, won't you, Iris? Don't let go of my hand. We finally made it through the throngs, though, by the look of it. There we are, underneath the public experimentation stage where the explosion happened yesterday. Oh. What's that? I can hear voices from up on the stage. It sounds like an argument? Huh. Kind of surprised that they didn't give us like any dialogue other than the dots. Oh.
Right. I've had it with you this time. I'm warning you. I'll arrest you in a minute.
Oh yeah? Go on then, Spectre. Give it a shot. You ain't got no evidence then, you know it.
Wait. I know those voices.
You've got a cheeky little mouth on you, young lady, but a night in the cells will teach you some manners.
Just try it, I dare ya. I want that big old bag of chips rammed down your throat. Yoo-hoo, Gregsy. What are you doing up there?
Ah! It's you! Here! You're here! Here you are! Here! Your ladyship. How are you, your ladyship? I do hope you're well, your ladyship.
Does that make her 3 times a lady?
I'm not well at all. It's far too busy everywhere. I wanted to ride in a balloon, but there was a 3-hour queue.
Unbelievable! I'll go and have a word for you at once, your ladyship. You'll be flying high as a kite in no time once I pull some strings for you.
Tobias Gregson, an inspector at Scotland Yard. Until recently, he was suspended from duty. But it would appear he's back in action now. He's actually quite well known, appearing as he does in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And for that reason, he can't say a word wrong to the story's author, Iris. But there are limits, surely. Or there should be.
Watch it, sunshine.
Sorry.
What gives then? Don't tell me you're in on this. You're on this case.
Yes, I'm acting for the defense.
So we're here to investigate.
Dear me, that's the situation, is it?
Is it really that troubling?
A measly 5 bob? Is that all you got? You're a lawyer, ain't ya? You could stand to carry a bit more copper around in your pockets, Mr. Naraodo.
What? Hey! That's my last bit of spending money, that is.
Yeah, I can have it back, but I'll have to charge you for all the bother, you 3 bob.
This is Gina Lestrade, a pickpocket or diver, born and bred in the East End of London. In the case that led to my own suspension 6 months ago. This is the young girl I was defending in court.
What's your problem, Odo? Diver, pickpocket, what's with all the name calling? You want a bag of chips rammed down your throat and all, do ya?
I thought you were proud to be a diver, Gina. You were just arguing with Professor Gregson about it, weren't you? I assumed you'd been up to your usual tricks here at the showground.
That ain't no way to talk to a lady, Oda. Half a year's a long time, people can change. I'm an apprentice now, learning to be a Scotland Yard detective. You'll have to call me what everyone else does. It's Inspector Lestrade now.
Inspector? That badge is homemade, surely.
The inspector part isn't entirely accurate. No one calls from that. For what it's worth, anyway. Investigating is off the cards for all of us.
What's that supposed to mean?
Right. Well, I'll be back up top. You hold down the fort. Hold the fort down here, all right?
Right, sir.
Huh, so she's an apprentice now. That's cool. This raises a lot of questions. Ah, yes, we're back to this theme. Heck yeah. It was 8 months ago now that I first encountered Gina, in connection with a case I was working on. At the time, she was living in the East End with a group of other orphans. She helped a lot of them survive by pickpocketing. But then she got embroiled in a murder.
I had a lot of time to think in prison. I realized I couldn't go on like I was. The diving weren't working out. Oh, I'm so pleased to hear it, Ginny. Well done.
So, you went from being a pickpocket to a detective?
You got it. Good, isn't it? Inspector Lestrade. Sounds like something out of a book, eh?
Talk about a sea change.
And then there's Iris's old man to think about.
Iris's father, you mean?
Yeah, I promised her, didn't I? I said I'd get all the police forces around the world to pull out the stops looking for him.
Just a small promise, then. Nothing serious.
Oh, Ginny, you're so sweet. So anyway, that's how I come and had a go at the test for Scotland Yard. Only trouble is I don't read so well, do I?
Just a small problem. Nothing serious.
And that's when Hurley approached Gregsy and asked for help. So the inspector said he'd take full responsibility for Ginny and make her a sort of apprentice.
That was very magnanimous of Inspector Gregson. And brave.
Well, you know Hurley. He enjoys finding ways to make people do what he wants.
The great detective likes digging for dirt, in other words.
So, the long and the short of it is, if you got questions about the case, you can ask Inspector Lestrade.
Right then, Inspector. Actually, there's still a big mystery surrounding Gina, isn't there?
Oh, what, Runa? What?
Well, 6 months ago, Gina was the defendant in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper. A trial in which she was found not guilty. And yet, here she is still.
Come on, you're not still on about that, are you? The Legend of the Reaper or whatever it's called. Cor, you don't have to worry, Oda.
I didn't half worry. There probably wouldn't be a whole lot of you left. Or if I didn't half worry, there probably wouldn't be a whole lot of you left. There we go.
It's like I told you before, isn't it? The Reaper's kinda like I'm upstairs. So he knows what I'm like on the inside. That I ain't really done nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong might be stretching a point.
What about Mr. Natsume in Japan? He's perfectly fine, isn't he?
Well, that's true. Perhaps the Reaper is more discerning than I thought.
Exactly! So I ain't worried. I'm totally fine. Car, it was out of this world, it was. The brainy bloke pulled a bunch of levers on his machine and suddenly it started billowing smoke. Then it just went pop. I ain't seen a better experiment there yet.
Sorry?
You mean, you saw it, Ginny? With your own eyes? Yeah, of course. The boss is in charge here, ain't he? Ain't he? Of keeping everything running smooth, I mean.
The boss being Inspector Gregson, I suppose. That's going to take some getting used to.
So all I have to say is that I'm on duty, and I can do whatever I want to. Get this, I was up in one of them flying balloons when it happened, watching it from above. No, you're so lucky, Ginny. Maybe I should join Scotland Yard too. Yeah, do it! You know how to put the boss in his place already, right, Iris? You have no trouble at all. Then it's settled. When do I start?
No, you can't join Scotland Yard, Iris.
We'll see. Anyway, I don't understand what I don't understand is this. If the machine exploded so spectacularly, how can Professor Bunnybrain still be claiming that his experiment was a success? Oh, right. Well, it was a success in a way.
It was? How can it have been? Well, let's ask about the investigation first. Something Inspector Gregson said before seemed a little strange.
For what it's worth, anyway, investigating is off the cards for all of us.
Yes, naughty old Gregsy ran off after that without explaining himself. Alright, that. The boss said no one's around to investigate that weird machine that blew up yesterday. Well, that's not fair. We're representing the defendant.
In that case, could you at least tell us what you've learned from your investigations?
Nah, you're not getting it. We aren't allowed to investigate either.
Why?
What did the boss call him again? The forensic investigation team, I think. Anyway, apart from them lot, no one's allowed to lay a finger on the scene. Bit funny, ain't it?
So even Scotland Yard's own detectives can't investigate. Yes. I've never heard something like that before.
Oh, I thought I could have a gander on the quiet though. But the boss got me at it. You probably heard him giving an earful about it before from down here, didn't ya? It's not bleating fair.
I think you were giving him as much of an earful back as I remember it.
Yeah, well, sometimes I think it's all them chips what make him so stubborn. You say something to him, Oda. Go on, see if you can get through to him.
He's up on the platform above us, isn't he? Is he? Where the machine that exploded is.
We can try, can't we, Bruno? Gregsy will listen to us.
I see a few things that we can investigate around here. I didn't really investigate any of the other locations because it didn't really seem relevant, but this is the crime scene, so surely after the whole machine blew up, no one would call the experiment a success.
It's like you said, it did sort of work. I mean, yeah, there was a load of smoke and then that whopping big great bang. But where do you think they found the victim's body, eh? In the crystal tower over there.
Oh, interesting. What? In the tower? Oh, he banged through the window. That's what. Oh boy.
You can see for yourself, can't ya? Up there above the scaffold. Oh, were all the glasses broken, you mean? Yeah. The cage what the victim got in to start with really did get beamed to the air or whatever and landed all the way over there. So, you see? It did kinda work, didn't it?
What? I don't believe it.
I mean, I don't get the ins and outs, but anything's possible, right? With science. Oh, I tell you what, you can have this. It's a plan of the experiment they drew up at the yard.
God, it's so fucking hard to read Gina's dialogue. Alright. Are you sure?
Yeah, go on. I had 3 bob off you before, so fair is fair.
Yes. I didn't actually give that to you. Did I? Oh, poor guy. My money. Well, we can examine now. Oh wait, I think the other places didn't have anything we could didn't even have the examination option too, so I think we're fine.
Ah, it looks as though somebody dropped something behind the tree chest here.
Dropped? Or hid? What is this? Some part of a machine that exploded?
Maybe. It could have fallen from the platform above in the blast, perhaps. What's going on here? Oh, nothing.
I think I'll hang on to this, just in case. Oh, come on, you can't be hiding evidence from an investigator. Gina's good now, you know? She's good people. Mysterious contraption, a very curious device found behind a tree under the experimentation stage of the exhibition grounds, almost as if it had been hidden there deliberately. Okay, so we should definitely look into that later. For some reason, the ground is damaged in the spot. Look! Almost as if there was a fire here or something.
Yes, if you look closely, there's some scattered ash and burnt embers too.
Well, I suppose there was a big explosion just above here. People probably wouldn't bat an eyelid at a small fire like this would have been.
I'm not sure we English are quite that laid back, you know?
Okay, so nothing really significant for that.
Oh look, what's this? A ripped piece of cloth?
It's not like any fabric I've ever seen before. It's very thick and stiff. It looks extremely durable.
It's canvas, I think, but some sort of rubber backing.
Why did I roll my R?
And the edges appear to be a bit charred as well.
Maybe that means it had something to do with the explosion.
Let's make a note of it while Ginny's mid-yawn.
Torn piece of canvas-like material backed with rubber that was found near the experimentation stage at the exhibition grounds. There are scorch marks on the edges. Not much else in terms of investigating. Oh, but we can look upward. Let's try to look over here.
That's where the cove ended up after it. Oh, that's where the cove ended up after his instant kinesis or whatever they call it. Dead, of course.
And yet they're calling the experiment a success?
What's the wooden scaffold there for? The coppers, or lads, set dead up after the incident happened. To get the body down, I think. Don't know really.
Oh. It was actually hanging out the window. Didn't you help to erect the scaffold then?
Nah, lookout duty's more my thing. Wandering around the exhibition and keeping a lookout for the fun stuff.
Mind Gregson doesn't hear you saying that or he'll give you the boot. It's incredible though, isn't it? I mean, could the Victor really have bridged that gap by some sort of invisible kinesis? Well, he definitely went flying. That's what it definitely seems to me, more so. Let's look at the... Okay, so we got a sketch of the schematic. Yep, the weird laser. Pointing towards the tower. And we got this. Nothing much to investigate on it except for this part here. There's some sort of lever here. Oh! What the? What is this? It looks like a cross between a bow and a gun. A crossbow, if you... Goddamn this guy. I think it's probably used for the same thing too. The details of the crossbow have been updated. Okay. Strange. This groove here must be where the arrows are loaded, I suppose. So I was right, it's a sort of bow with an automatic firing mechanism. This would be perfect for someone like me who catches his ear with the bowstring 2 times out of 3. Oh, Renosuke. In fact, if I had one of these, maybe I could have beaten Kazuma in Kyudo archery training. Kyudo. Kyudo! Not Kyo. What the fuck is wrong with my pronunciation? Kyudo. Kyudo. It looks like you wind this around in order to draw the bowstring back and create tension. You must be able to fire arrows with a huge amount of force using the device then. In fact, I would imagine it's far more accurate and powerful than a Japanese longbow. Ugh, I really had no idea what I was picking up when I spotted this in the exhibition grounds. Okay, so we have a crossbow and a piece of canvas. It looks like layers of thick canvas with a thick rubber lining of sorts. I've never seen anything like it before. But applying Mr. Sholmes' methods, you might deduce it was part of a raincoat worn by someone who really, really didn't want to get wet. And the charring must have occurred when the person was struck by lightning. Or maybe not. I like how Iris isn't even talking in any of these conversations. He's just kind of just staring at Naruhodo, making these assumptions, and then he kind of slowly figures it out on his own that he's an idiot. Okay, but judging by what I'm seeing with it, it looks like it's part of a balloon, and we do see quite a bit of hot air balloons over here. Maybe it got shot by the arrow? For some reason? I don't know what for yet, but... Oh, this platform must have been set up for the experiment, I suppose. It's very high up.
About 30 feet above the ground, apparently. That's what a policeman I just spoke to said.
I don't really understand feet very well. We don't use them in Japan.
Oh yes, sorry. It's about 9 meters. But soon you'll have been in London a year, Bruno. It's time you got used to our measurements.
Yes, well... This thing is so tall, the spectators at the front would just have seen a wall and nothing else.
They probably thought they'd secured the best spot to watch from, only to be disappointed.
There's a saying in Japan, the darkest spot is right under the lighthouse. I feel like it probably applies here. Okay, so maybe this is where we're gonna get the hot air balloon. I've been meaning to ask you for a while now, but what are those funny round blobs floating in the sky?
Oh, they're the flying balloons I've been talking about. I want to go up in one so much.
I've read about situations like this in a magazine about strange phenomena. Creatures from outer space coming around flying objects to attack Earth?
What?
I suppose inhabitants of other planets are bound to be interested in the Great Exhibition. This is it, Iris. It's happening.
It's not. Don't worry. I'll explain it all to you later over a nice cup of tea, Bruno.
Man, he's actually an idiot. Can we ask you about this crossbow, or do I have to present this to... Gina, would you look at... Oh, where did it go? Hee, looking for this. When did you do that? I wonder if you've got anything else to show me. Give that back. Okay, yeah, so not this. But how about the canvas? Nope, okay. Okay. I guess we gotta... Oh, maybe to talk to Gregson we have to go this way. These stairs obviously lead to the stage above. We should go up there and investigate the exact spot where the experiment was being conducted. Okay, yeah, we do have to interact with it. Interesting. Yeah, so it's like a giant megaphone laser. So that's it, is it? The machine that blew up.
Oh, it must have been a magnificent explosion, and I've seen my fair share.
You've seen things like this before, you mean?
Of course, Hadley's always doing experiments that end in a bang. In fact, in his own words, explosions are the very essence of chemistry.
Ah, that might explain the smell of burning that frequently comes wafting up the stairs.
One time he made something that exploded with such force it took the roof off the building. I wish you'd been there to see it, Runo.
It's hard to get too excited about that, given that I now live in the roof.
Well, anyway, that's enough about that. It's time to investigate.
Oh look, Inspector Gregson is over there. He seems to be deep in thought about something, whilst eyeing up the machine carefully.
Really? He just looks confused to me.
Well, there's the main machine. Nothing significant about the crates. I guess we can look at the machine first. It ripped itself apart magnificently, didn't it?
Magnificently and mercilessly.
So someone stands in the middle of the machine to be disassembled and then beamed through the air.
Yes, beamed. Not blasted. That's the point.
Yes, that part's crucial, really. Is something like that even possible, though, Iris?
Oh, Runo, I'm just a child. How should I know?
A child when it suits you, you mean?
From what I can tell, I think you were to pull the—
Stop! Don't touch that!
That was practically instantaneous kinesis the way you flew over there just now, Gregsy.
Please, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you, but I can't let you touch anything up here.
So sorry. You can have some of my latest special blend to make up for it.
Wonderful. The stuff really is wonderful.
It's just like old times, this is. Alright, Gregson, are you going to talk to us? We're representing Professor Hairbrain in court tomorrow, Inspector. So we should be allowed to examine the scene.
Ha! Listen, Sunshine, even I'm not allowed to touch anything up here. It's that blasted special suspension for scientific equipment act to blame. It's driving me potty.
Oh, yes. That special dispensation. Oh, dispensation. The professor mentioned that, too.
More red tape's all we need. I don't know what the government thinks it's playing at sometimes.
But we're allowed to just look, aren't we? Surely that's alright, isn't it, Gregsy?
He's fucking dead. He's been checkmated.
Of course, your ladyship. Anything you say, your ladyship. Please don't get your dainty hands dirty, will you?
Don't worry. We wouldn't dream of touching anything. Would we, Runo?
She really knows how to get what she wants. Cool, I guess we can look around more. Considering how badly damaged everything is, Professor Hairbrain was lucky to escape unscathed, I'd say. We should have a good look around the machine while we can, I think.
Touch anything and I'll make sure I'll kill you before I get the shrug on myself, you hear?
I won't touch a thing, I promise. So please, spare a thought for your digestion. Anyway, do you really think this machine could actually disassemble people like the professor claims?
Yes, looking totally incredulous. Give it a rest, Sunshine. If we were allowed to examine all this bleeding scrap metal, maybe we could answer that question. But we can't, can we?
Because of the annoying rules, you mean?
Exactly! The annoying obstruction flaming roars!
Oh, look at the base of the machine there.
Oh yes, there's a tool of some kind poking through the wire mesh.
Ah! It's a screwdriver, I think?
Oh, isn't it a lovely one? The handle's in the shape of a capital letter A.
Oh, so that is significant. Okay. It is? Oh yeah, you're right.
What's the matter with you? Don't touch anything I said! Touch anything, and I'll make sure I'll kill you before I get to look at myself, I said!
Yes, I understand. Sorry. I only touched a teeny wee bit.
But Gregsy, I'm very curious about this screwdriver. Really very curious.
Of course, your ladyship. You're so clever, your ladyship. Fancy spotting something like this. But I'm afraid I can't let you have it.
But Runo found it first.
I assure you, I'll investigate it thoroughly.
He's gone off with it.
That was very mean, I'm afraid. Inspector Gregson is going to make a very clumsy and embarrassing mistake in next month's installment now.
Poor Gregsy. Huh, not much else I can really investigate with that. Huh. Well, there's a Ferris wheel and Russian towers. I guess I could look at these aesthetic things.
What is that gigantic thing over there? It looks like an enormous water wheel.
Oh, that's a Ferris wheel. There'll be people riding inside those little cabins, you see.
Why?
Well, they rotate nice and slowly, so it's a wonderful way to see the surrounding scenery.
Wait, it's turning? But it looks completely still.
Yes, that's because it's turning so slowly. One complete revolution takes about half an hour.
If you were mad enough to go in one, it would be more fun to whiz around fast, don't you think?
I feel as though you might have just invented a new sort of ride there, Bruno.
Yeah, that definitely would be a thrill ride. In fact, I'm pretty sure it does exist.
There are all sorts of strange buildings here in the Great Exhibition Grounds, aren't there? I seem to remember something similar being exhibited in Japan one time.
Oh, in your country, Bruno? I do wish I could go and see it. I presented particularly steely samurai with a present of one of Hurley's stories I'd written especially. And see if I couldn't get Hurley into a jam against some Bartitsu master ninjas.
You might not find as many of those sorts of people around as you think.
Oh, well that's dull. Oh, but
I do know a prosecutor with a Swan Mage top knot I could introduce you to.
a Chon mate? Really? Do you think I could have my picture taken with him? Do you?
Assuming he's recovered from the trim Cosmo gave him a year ago, yes.
Oh, more balloon talk.
That amazing horn-shaped device is pointing towards the Crystal Tower. I suppose once people are disassembled by the machine, they're shot out of that thing to wherever they're going.
I didn't think it was supposed to shoot anything, Runo. It was set up to beam people to the Crystal Tower, where they'd be reconstructed in their original form.
Well, I don't like the look of it. If it wasn't as amazing as it looks, the incident wouldn't have happened in the first place, of course.
I suppose that's true, yes.
But nothing ever goes according to plan, does it? So those are people carrying balloons, dangling silently in the skies over London. Oh, people carrying balloons, yeah. I always thought the day would come when humans would discover how to fly. But I never imagined it would involve them being suspended from colorful, floating Tamari handballs.
I'm sure it must feel amazing being up there among the clouds. Let's take a ride together, Bruno, please.
If I'm being perfectly honest, I would like to try it. But without a cast iron guarantee that the thing won't plummet to the ground, I'm too scared.
Oh well, in that case, I should tell you what Hurley said. It's physically impossible for a flying balloon to plummet to the ground, as long as it doesn't explode.
Yes. Call me crazy, but I think that exploding part might play on my mind a little.
And I don't blame you.
Huh. Interesting, though. There's not really much to investigate unless I'm missing something really small.
Like I did on that other case. Well, I guess we gotta just... Oh, he's still here. Okay, we can talk to him. Gregson, I thought he left.
Using high voltage electricity to somehow disassemble a man's body. And then beam him across to the Crystal Tower. It's an extraordinary thing to attempt. Especially in public.
True, it was by far the most unusual of the experiments planned for the exhibition, mind.
To be honest, I'm a bit surprised it was allowed.
Carrying out something so dangerous with so many spectators present, I mean.
The government's doing everything it can to promote new science and technology at the moment. They're far more worried about being ahead of the game than the odd spot of public safety infringements. If they can be the first to develop some new technology, it makes Britain more powerful in the future, you see.
Yes, I suppose that's true in a way.
So the powers so the powers that be are placing a heavy emphasis on scientists' rights at the moment.
What sort of rights?
They're making it so that any theories the brains have remain their legal property, as it were. Right through developing it into a practical idea and even going into production. Which is the infuriating reason that coppers aren't allowed to touch this crime scene. Because the new highfalutin special suspension for scientific equipment and forbids it.
Ah, I see now.
The only people with permission to investigate here are from some brand new department at the Yard. The Forensic Investigation Team, it's called. We've been relegated to keeping guard.
The Forensic Investigation Team.
Any old fool could see that this heap of scrap metal was a sham to begin with. But just because it says scientific equipment on the paperwork, we can't do a flaming thing with it.
Poor Gregsy. He's very head up, isn't he?
Remind me again, what's this new legal act that means we're not allowed to touch the scene here?
Are you having me at it, Sunshine? It's a special suspension for Scientific Equipment Act.
Yes. I think Hurley's mentioned that recently. With a real twinkle in his eye, as I remember.
I'm sure he did, Your Ladyship. I'm sure he did. Passed especially for this great exhibition it was. All scientists have to do is present their ideas or inventions to some suits in the civil service. And if it gets rubber stamped, that's a guarantee of rights to maintain the invention's confidentiality.
What does that really mean?
Think about it. Think of all the world-changing new inventions on display every day at this exhibition. Although a good half of them are a load of cobblers, if you ask me, put forward by shammers like yourself.
Thanks for that.
Oh, I love how absurd some of the inventions here are. It's all so fun.
It might be fun for you, but a member of the force has to be present at every single demonstration. Can you imagine, eh? Hang science, that's what I say.
Oh, I don't think so. That sounds like my dream job.
You'd soon think otherwise after spending a day guarding all these shammers' bogus contraptions.
But if they're all bogus, how can anyone hope to demonstrate them? There'd be no point.
Yeah, well, there is a point, sadly.
Sorry?
Thanks to another of our government's bright ideas. If any theory or invention is deemed to show potential, the government hands out a research grant.
The scientists get funding?
Exactly. And that's what they're all after. All these shammers coming from far and wide to clog up Hyde Park. And who has to keep them all safe, eh? Who has to smile politely and welcome them? A scupper, that's who. So you can see why I say it now, can't you? Hang science! Hang it!
Oh, maybe I can see your point.
Apparently Professor Harebrain lives and works in Germany now conducting his research.
That's right. Came back to Britain, especially for the great exhibition, as I understand it. Probably after one of the government's research grants.
Actually, we learned something else about the professor earlier today. About his time in further education, and it turns out he was at university with someone we both know. Lord Van Zeeks.
What's that? That's news to me. But if Van Zeek's man's prosecution, then as the accused, the professor's fate is
sealed? Because the Reaper will get him one way or the another?
Blimey. That man's beyond me. I don't know what goes on in that head of his. Talking of Van Zeeks, this morning's paper ran the story of him being attacked. Read that?
Oh yes, but Mr. Reaper is completely fine. Nothing to worry about.
Yes, right. Glad to hear it. Still, the Reaper, how long is that business gonna keep up, I wonder?
The victim of this case, the investor, Mr. Asman. He was another of the Reaper's victims. Or so I heard.
Lord Baron von Zeeks is a top-class prosecutor. But even he can't always push the right verdict through. Sometimes justice can't win.
Yes, I've heard that about jurors being bribed and evidence being falsified. And that's how the notion of the Reaper of the Bailey came about, isn't it?
Obviously, Scotland Yard suspected Van Zeeks initially. We all assumed he was taking matters into his own hands as if he failed to seal the deal in court.
Although the man himself denies that charge.
Well, we've done a very thorough investigation, and the conclusion we reached is that Lord Van Zeeks is in no way related to the deaths of those people outside the courtroom. There's no question in my mind. I'd stake my reputation on it, I would.
But if that's true, then how do you explain it? All those defendants couldn't just have coincidentally died if nobody killed them.
I know that, but I can't explain it. It's a mystery after all, isn't it? That's the whole point of the Reaper.
Professor Harebrain mentioned something else. He said that at university, Lord Van Zeeks was a totally different person. Easygoing and kind.
You what?
He said that it was after they both graduated that something happened to change the man. Do you have any idea what it was?
No clue.
Really?
Look, I've got my hands full watching over this frustrating crime scene. Why don't you go and make a nuisance of yourself elsewhere, eh?
Iris was not happy about that statement.
Right. Are you done here, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry?
Isn't it about time you were leaving? Or rather, it is about time you were leaving. There are a lot here now.
That lot?
The forensic investigation team. They'll be giving me the heave-ho in a minute, too.
Oh dear, Gregsy. Poor Gregsy. Here, have another cup of my special blend to cheer you up.
That hit the spot. Yep, hits it every time.
Well, at least I've seen the scene with my very own eyes. It looks like this is as far as we're going to get with our investigations here, at least.
I've been thinking. Hurley might know something. Mightn't he?
About what?
About Mr. Reaper.
About what happened to Lord Van Zeeks, you mean? Because it sounds like something very significant occurred after he graduated from university. Something that completely changed his life. Maybe, but I have no idea where to find Mr. Shelms at the moment. He's in the middle of some big case, isn't he?
Here, this is what you need.
What's this? Some kind of entrance ticket? Madame Tuspels. Is this supposed to mean something to me?
You don't know it? It's the most popular attraction in London at the moment. It's very close to Baker Street, actually. We could go there now if you like.
No, we don't have time for visiting attractions today, Iris. We have a big trial tomorrow.
But that's where Hurley is.
What? At this popular London attraction?
Yes.
How is it that you know where he is?
Hurley told me. But he told me to keep it a secret from you, Bruno.
Madame Tuspels? I don't see how it could be related to the case that we're investigating here. Then, stranger things have happened. And when they happen, Mr. Shelms is usually at the heart of them. Bye, Gregson. I guess we're going here. Why is everything by Baker Street? Oh, Museum of Waxworks. Oh. So they're all murders? What is this place? Look at all these terrifying scenes. But why are all the police people so still? Guillotines. Ruthless murders. I know what I'll be dreaming about tonight.
They're all wax models.
Except for those two, I'm assuming, over there.
Amazingly realistic, aren't they? What do you think, Bruno? Shocked?
Wax models? Ah! I read about dead bodies and wax once in a magazine about strange phenomena. Depending on how corpses are kept after death, the parts of them can turn to wax, apparently. It's called a adipocyte.
Stop talking about creepy things like that, Bruno. You're scaring me. Anyway, adipocyte doesn't form readily. Ah! What now?
I've just remembered something else I read. Another magazine about strange phenomena. There was an old lady, maybe a witch, who used to pour molten wax over corpses and put them on display.
None of the exhibits in here are real. They're all entirely man-made replicas.
They can't be! Do you really expect me to believe that? Just look at them!
Oh.
There's no way nobody could make models of people that are this realistic. And they're all such gruesome scenes. Wait.
What is it?
Oh, no. I must be seeing things. Wait. What is that? Is this an arm?
It looks like an arm, doesn't it? Maybe one of the waxwork models has fallen over.
You don't think it could be the work of one of the mass murderers in here, do you?
Bruno, stop scaring me.
Is it a wax arm? Or a real one?
Come on. You're always pointing that finger of yours in the corner. Poke that arm right now and see how it feels.
Objection! I'm gonna poke it? That big heavy curtain is a very prominent position, isn't it? I have a nasty feeling there's going to be something truly terrifying behind it.
Oh yes, that's the famous Tuspel's special exhibit. It depicts one of England's most notorious killers. Do you want to pay the extra fee and have a look?
Pay more money? To be even more terrified? Oh, let me think about that for a moment.
It was only a suggestion.
The arm kind of reminds me of the coat on Strongheart. Kind of reminds me of his coat arm. Well, we can inspect Sholmes later, but we seem to have a peculiar pair over here. These models are so well made. I can't tell what's a waxwork and what's a real human.
Maybe all the exhibits are real people, and when it's closing time, all the visitors have gone home. They suddenly start moving about.
Ugh, just thinking about it makes me wish it was closing time already and I was on my way home. Well, I'm pretty sure those are real people because their models are very, very distinct. Wonder what this one's about. Is this some infamous murder?
Yes, called Jane the Ripper. All the victims were young women.
I knew it! You could tell by the way she's holding the knife. It's sure a sign of a murderer.
Well, yes. Ah! What's the matter, Bruno?
I've worked it out. I know what she's doing. She's trying to fill that bathtub with blood so she can have a soak in all her victims' gore.
Not according to the information about the exhibit on the little board here. It doesn't mention anything about the bathtub.
Really?
Sorry, I don't think it's significant.
I still think it has to be there for a reason. Yeah, that's kind of weird. That it would just be there. Okay, is that Jane and Jack then? Ugh. Is this an example of a Western sugiri? Oh, sujigiri?
I don't know what that is.
You know, when an unscrupulous samurai randomly attacks a passerby to test his sword. Oh, what Night Slash is.
I still don't know who. No. But actually, a waxwork samurai would probably be hugely popular. Could you model it, do you think, Bruno? Doing that sujigiri thing you mentioned?
Well, I do have a sword, but I have no intention of testing how sharp it is on a human human subject. For now, at least. Oh, interesting.
Oh, that's a funny place for a little ladder. What is it? Is something wrong?
No, it's just that in Japanese we have a totally different word for a ladder that folds in half like that.
We do in English too, you know. It's a stepladder, or just steps. So be careful of making assumptions about other cultures, Muno. That's how wars are started.
I didn't realize stepladders were an international point of contention, but the writer makes an astute point. Well, I do see a mysterious, very peculiar person here. But let me take a small bathroom break, as it's been 2. Oh, sorry, I'm accidentally, but yeah. Let me take a nice quick bathroom break, because it's been about 2 hours, and I need a quick break to get more water and etc. So I'll be right back. Oh, hi, Goldie. Yeah, thank you. I'll have a nice quick BRB. Okay. Sorry about that. I am back. I have water. I went to the bathroom. And I had to order food because apparently I'm fending for myself today. I didn't realize. So I am waiting. I just ordered food, and I'll be waiting on that. Thank you. Yay, food! I'm just getting something simple. I'm getting some Jack in the Box, so can't wait to eat that later. It's the great detective Herlock, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I've never had that. Oh, Jack in the Box. Hehe. I'm getting a munchie meal, I think. Those are usually pretty good. You don't have any? Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Like for fast food, like they're not like the greatest thing ever, but like honestly, Jack in the Box is pretty good. So like, choose on your meal like a mouse. I'm feeding you. I'm feeding you. Could always try one if you come back to California. That'd be fun. Yeah. Mr. Sholmes has his own wax statue in here? Really? Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, and they're pretty cheap too. Or they're cheap enough. And they're open really late.
Well, he is world famous after all.
It's an uncanny resemblance, isn't it? It makes my skin crawl to look at it.
I know. But look, Bruno, you can kick this Hurley, and he doesn't move a muscle.
Oh no. Oh, I got the model too. The jitter. Oh, that's so good. You can't go around kicking the exhibits, Iris. Wait. He flinched too. It just moved. I'm sure. And not just a little bit either.
Really? Did it?
And look closely. There are beads of sweat on the face of this waxwork model. Shall we move on, Iris? Oh, over there, look! There's a great murder scene to enjoy. Much more appealing.
Hold it!
My dear fellow, I take exception to your recoiling in such a manner, as if you've seen something truly abhorrent.
Mr. Sholmes! I knew it.
Iris, what possessed you? I strictly forbade you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mr. Naruhodo.
Temporary waxwork? What do you mean?
And that kick! Could you not have exercised a little more restraint? You winded me!
But Bruno has something he needs to ask you.
Ah, a question?
And I thought you'd probably be getting bored too. So here we are.
Well, I can't deny that your timing was impeccable. A mere 2 minutes more being stationary like that. And my great brain, upon which all my success has been built, would have turned to wax.
Thank goodness we arrived in time.
Indeed. In many ways, the pair of you just saved the world from an unimaginable loss.
Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you?
He could know something. It's true. About Lord Van Zeeks, and what happened in the past to change him.
Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? For you're in luck. I am suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing.
Oh, well, actually, I'm in quite a hurry.
And if my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. A most fascinating case, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that it is related to the matter about which you've come to me now.
But how could it be?
We shall speak again presently, my dear fellow. But for now, I must return to my work.
What? Back to being a temporary wax work exhibit? Is he just gonna do this the entire time we're talking to him? What is this place? Madame Tuspel's came. Okay, he gave up. He gave up. He gave up immediately. Okay. Madame Tuspel's came to London from France 3 years ago. I understand. Since damn, I wish it would have been pretty funny if he did though. He just stays in that pose while talking, not even his lips moving. Just it would have been pretty funny. Since she opened this little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed great popularity in London. There are museums like this in Japan too, but these displays are something else. I mean, they aren't made from actual real people, are they? The extreme realism of these waxwork models is this particular secret of the Tuspels family, they say. They earned renown during the French Revolution for waxworks of victims of the guillotine. Ugh. That sounds grim. The gruesome scenes were portrayed with such realism in the expressions of the faces of the condemned.
Apparently, the sculptors will make the models directly from the corpses, right there at the scene of the executions.
That really turns my stomach. That's just one of several legends about the Tuspels family. Whether there's any truth in it, I couldn't say. But anyway, this museum houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum by quite some margin is this House of Horrors. House of Horrors? Of course, visitor numbers are dwindling now as a result of the Great Exhibition, but people usually flock here to see the exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals at their gruesome work. Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows. So they're even stiffer now than the mortals of them. Have you heard of poor taste? My dear fellow, the public live for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked. So, the hideous exhibits in here are...
They're all portrayals of real events that actually took place.
Is it just me, or did the temperature in here just seem to drop? Anyway, I advise you to not think too deeply about what you see here. Oh, there he goes. Oh, he's back to being a waxwork, is he? What do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes? Exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibit here, catching these criminals in the act. Catching them? Every half an hour, I home in on a different killer at one of the displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare him. When members of the public come for a closer look, I offer them my hand to shake. For a shilling, I'll happily allow them to take a photograph with us. Us? Does he mean him and the waxwork murderers in here? But why, Mr. Sholmes? My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money. He really roared at me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors. As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent, and I have the ravenous Iris to consider.
Oh, Hurley, I'm so hungry.
If push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. Narhodo.
What's he threatening to rope me into now?
So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? As a special treat, you may have your pick of the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours. Maybe some other time. Remember, Mr. Narhodo, ignore me at your peril.
Back to being a waxwork again. Is it just me, or did his final remark there sound like a curse? Oh god.
Well, what is it you'd like me to ask me then? Actually, it's about Lord Van Zeeks. Ah, our friend Mr. Reaper. How did you find him? Well, I trust. And so I filled Mr. Sholmes in about everything I'd learned. About Lord Van Zeeks, about Professor Harebrain, and about the strange coincidence that they had been at university together. So I'm wondering what it was that happened to make Lord Van Zeek such a different person.
I was sure that you know, Hurley.
You said there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before. That something was afoot. And that you believed it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. Mr. Sholmes? He suddenly clammed up. Well, it seems we've reached the unavoidable... Greetings! Oh, it's a lady. Oh, hello! Where did she appear from? And what's she wearing? Could she look any more mysterious? Let's see if I can do a good female voice for this lady.
I hope you are appreciating my museum.
Sorry, have we? Mr. Sholmes, do you know who this... Not again!
My apologies. I am Esmeralda to Spells. This is my museum of waxwork.
What? You're the Madame to Spells?
Bien, sir. Though only 26 years young, I might add.
She's 26? Damn, she hot. Anyways. Is that significant somehow?
I'm a madame in name only. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi.
Right.
Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks, or rather, one waxwork in particular.
That'll be Mr. Sholmes then.
I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. Next time you move from your designated exhibit, there will be toil and trouble.
He's dead.
She sounds deadly serious.
That's a problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Sholmes about Lord Van Zeeks now?
Let's not forget what Hurley said before about something being afoot right here in the museum. I mean...
Yes, I know, but...
I'm so curious. I want to know what's happening here.
Oh, man. Sorry. Haven't we got enough on our plate already? Thank you. Did you make all these waxworks, Madame to Spells?
I did. I am the third generation of waxwork artisans, you know.
Oh, you know?
Gosh. It was my grandmother who began the tradition in my family. Her fortunes were checkered, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. Though, that is when she acquired the savoir-faire that leads to the astonishing lifelikeness. All these waxworks really do look as though they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley. What you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All the waxworks were created at the presence of real people in which they were modeled. In the hours immediately following their executions, that is the secret to the extraordinary lifelikeliness.
That sounds terrifying.
All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade par excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths. My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see.
Ugh. Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying?
Do not fear.
Sorry?
This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you'll explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians. Something for every taste, I hope.
It was Iris who dragged me straight in here. Come to think of it.
Sorry, perhaps I should have eased you into things.
What's the situation with that?
Ah, my temporary waxwork model. He approached me some days ago, you see, with a business proposal.
Oh, what sort of proposal?
My dear madame, what these spare exhibits need is the addition of a world-famous great detective.
Or words to that effect. Naturally, I am well aware that Mr. Sholmes is widely known in London as a talented detective.
It's great detective, actually. He's very specific about it.
Yes, the creme de la creme. So I was keen to come to some arrangement with him, of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree terms.
Let me guess. Someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services.
For a mere £500, I will dive into your cauldron of wax this very moment.
Or words to that effect.
Mrs. Sholmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch.
Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment due to unforeseen circumstances. So we came to the current arrangement instead.
Surely he doesn't need to do what he's doing, though, does he?
I would think not, but he was very insistent.
I have a 50-shilling problem that must be resolved by this morning. Or by the morning.
Or words to that effect. It's the pawnbroker, that's what it is. He must have something to redeem.
Is the consulting detective not going to work so well? Consulting detective work not going so well? I wonder, can I ask you something?
Bien sûr.
I'm just curious. Is anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident, perhaps?
Whoever suggested such a thing to you?
Oh, well, it was your temporary waxwork over there who mentioned it to me a lit. Oh! He's disappeared! A wax model is a work of art, not some tawdry object for trade. Ah. Oh, there he is. There you are!
Leaving the exhibit again when you should be working? Do you wish to be melted down?
My dear Madame Tuspels, save your reprimands. There are more pressing concerns. The wax can wait. It's our ideas about your current problem we must throw into the melting pot instead. Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police.
Why ever not?
She's turned as white as a sheet.
Because you have at your disposal a great detective, whose services you may employ for a mere 50 shillings. Though, please be aware that I prefer, no, I insist upon payment in advance.
Very well. Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we?
Oh, are we doing a little Sholmes special? I guess it is the first investigation, so we haven't seen it, so makes sense.
Before I engage my analytical processes, I must ask you to clarify something. What, pray, is behind the curtain?
That is the Dispel special exhibit. There is an extra charge to see it.
Ah, the special exhibit in the House of Horrors. It must depict a special killer, then, I presume.
Ooh, she looks kind of sus with that the eyes right now, in this pose.
Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder?
Absolute none. There is nothing amiss behind there.
Nothing amiss, madame. What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain? I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond before the situation worsens.
Yes. Very well. I will draw back the curtains, but only a soupcon.
I don't know what any of these probably French terms mean. If only I had Tomo to explain these to me.
I must confess I peeked behind the curtain earlier. The Dispel special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet, somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer one would expect is nowhere to be seen. What does strike one, however... Wait, is the portly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor?
Wait, that's a juror from... That's the juror from the McGilded case. I think he's juror number 1. What's he doing? Is he dead?
Well, then perhaps, Mr. Sholmes.
Well, then perhaps, Mr. Sholmes, that man on the floor is the ruthless killer himself.
I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman. Not even a waxwork, in fact.
What?
As skillfully made as these, waxworks are, they are always distinguishable from real humans. So, allow me to present my 2 conclusions. The first is that a sizable business transaction has been taking place in this special exhibit.
Why would you say that?
And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime.
Ah!
She looks as pale as candle wax.
I don't understand.
So, Madame Dispels, as you've agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this infinitely great detective in temporary exhibit at work.
Alright, here we go. The waxwork's fate.
To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum.
Let's see.
The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some £200.
That is all my own money.
So, what does this large sum of money reveal? Not as much as the involuntary glance you cast it would seem. Madame Dispels. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the £200 is revealed by that public notice. Waxworks for sale, your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer the centerpiece of your special exhibit for the sum of £200.
None!
Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Ah. Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the 200 pounds. It would appear that you twisted this gentleman around your little finger most efficiently.
What are you suggesting?
He rashly agreed to purchase the waxwork for the sum of 200 pounds. Only when he came to hand the money over did it occur to him what an extortionate amount he was paid. But the money was no longer in his hands. And the result? The scene we see before us. He collapsed in shock. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit fetched a killer price. We can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret.
Okay. So far, this is a very odd conclusion he's reaching.
The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment.
You cannot possibly.
What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief, such as is worn by policemen as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman, currently investigating this museum. I know him well, in fact. It's Sergeant John Clay.
What are you talking about?
The man's quite a celebrity. He received triple accolades at last year's policing awards.
But
next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him, with the particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle. Almost, in fact, as if he were a waxwork.
Ah, but you...
Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madame. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe.
Oh, yeah, here's a price tag.
The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag. Threepence? A tragically low price, you might say. Though perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks riddled with cracks. And yet you sold it to the portly gentleman for an exorbitant 200 pounds. The sort of plucky behavior that should attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madame?
I do not...
Yes, the waxwork you sold has already been seized by the police and remains in your custody as we speak. The old man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit, and not a moment too soon. Huh. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle.
I don't think this ain't it, Mr. Holmes. This definitely ain't it.
I see. I've stunned you all into silence.
You have, Hurley. You have. And you've obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her cauldron looks awfully hot.
If I could just bring up one point, Mr. Holmes.
Ah, the notorious Naruhodo 1 point. I'm all ears, my dear fellow.
According to your deduction, then, the special exhibit featured this old policeman. So, that would mean that he's the particularly ruthless murderer, wouldn't it?
killer policeman? Automole? Sorry? It was a mysterious series of murders that rattled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit had disappeared into the aether.
And it turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, a senior officer by the name of Automole.
So you mean that's who the sinister-looking old man there is supposed to be?
Indeed. It is a particularly grim face, is it not? Unforgettable, in fact. Yes, I remember that odious countenance only too well.
But is 200 pounds a lot of money for a wax model?
It would be enough to afford one of the latest steam carriages, if that puts things in perspective.
So, it is quite a lot then.
Is there anything else you wish to add? Before I melt you down?
That bubbling wax is looking more and more ominous.
The smell of that molten wax is starting to worry me.
Mr. Sholmes did more or less just accuse her to her face, so I think I might have to call on your assistance here, Iris, if that's alright. To make some minor corrections to the Great Detective's great deductions.
Of course it's alright. We'll soon set things straight.
Well, let's get started then, shall we?
Before Madame dispels vents her anger.
Just what I was waiting to hear, my dear fellow. So, Madame Dispels, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work.
Alright, here we go.
Alright, so to begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so hopefully from your bag. In my estimation, some 200 pounds.
That is all my own money.
So, what does this large sum of money reveal? Ah, not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Mr. Spells. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by that public notice.
She definitely looked in this direction, it's true.
But I'm not sure she'd really sell any of her waxworks even for 200 pounds.
Oh?
She must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Over and above the wax. If it were me, I wouldn't sell them for anything.
For that much money, I would. But it sounds like that makes me a bad person. But, well, anyway, I wonder if the 200 pounds could have some other significance.
Let's follow that furtive glance again and see if there's anything else we could explain it.
Gee, I wonder what this is.
What's the note doing pinned on the wall there?
Oh yes, let's see. Dear Madame Dispels, we've taken the prisoner from this room. The price for his safe return is 200 pounds. Have the money ready by noon on 23rd of October.
What?
It's just like that's the sort of thing that's left behind when someone is kidnapped.
Yes, it's a ransom note.
Exactly. That's peculiar.
Take that!
The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by that ransom note.
Quite so, and we must congratulate these criminals on their inventiveness, abducting a waxwork. 200 pounds is no small ransom fee, yet you clearly intend to pay it.
The model in question has special importance, so I put together all the money I have.
In summary then, the 200 pounds you have in your handbag is ransom money. Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is this portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you.
Oh,
Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow is, of course, the 200 pounds.
So if the waxwork was kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of who this man is?
we could just ask him when he comes around.
I think the point of this exercise is to understand the beauty of the deduction process, Iris.
Yes, you're right. Hurley's trying so hard, we mustn't let him down.
Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock. That much seems clear. But in that case, what's Madame Dispel's trying to hide? Let's have a closer look around. Does she have anything else on her? Long hair braid. Why does she have a hand in her? This is just Madame Dispel's right hand, isn't it?
Yes, it must be. I can clearly see her left hand after all. Oh, but wait a minute. This is the left hand as well. Look.
Don't say such creepy things, Iris, please.
And it seems very stiff, too. In fact, it's really hard.
You mean it's made of wax? Oh, it looks like my food's almost here, too.
Take that!
What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the waxwork hand. Indeed, with a solid waxwork limb, one could deliver a very substantial blow.
How could you?
The hand protruding from the bottom of your cape. It ought to be a right hand, but closer inspection reveals that is in fact, it's a left hand. Oh! And somewhat masculine as well. In other words, it does not belong to you, madame. It is the hand of a waxwork model.
Yeah! Some of the visitors to my museum can be troublesome. They meddle with the exhibits and cause damage.
So you mean that arm?
Yes, this gentleman saw fit to try to remove it as a souvenir.
No small keepsake. Like taking a whole branch of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms. I am afraid I had to teach the man a lesson. You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back. And the result? The scene we see before us. He was knocked unconscious. A point we may need to revisit later, but for the time being we have our conclusion. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit has been kidnapped. Okay, as we go into this next part, I need a BRB real quick. My food's here. So let me just BRB real quick.
Okay, sorry for that quick PRP. Just got my food. Took a nice little bite. But no, let's get back to reading. The question that arises then is, what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment.
You cannot possibly.
What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief. According to Mr. Sholmes, the yellow neckerchief is a sign to other policemen that some crime is underway.
A way of communicating with his colleagues without revealing his identity, yes. It's a secret that's closely guarded by Scotland Yard.
That Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give away.
Well, uncovering secrets is in any true detective's nature, of course.
Right. Anyway, judging from Madame Tuspel's reaction to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, I think perhaps we might not have identified the man quite correctly. Well, it's obviously the wax figure if his arm is missing, right? What the? The man has a stub sticking out of his shoulder where his arm should be. Then again, I'm not one to talk. I thought these two were probably, you know, actual people, but I guess we'll see about the old man.
Ah, well that settles it that then.
Right. This isn't a real person at all.
His entire arm's been ripped off from the shoulder down.
His arm's been... Of course, that ties in with what we just found out.
Take that!
Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his shoulder stub. No such boneless human walks this earth. Of that I can assure you. In other words, the man standing here, the young Sergeant John Clay, is in fact, defying all odds, a waxwork model. I seem to remember it was you who concluded he was a real person in the first place, Mr. Sholmes.
He has become quite a celebrity in London, being the winner of no less than 3 policing awards last year. I simply had to make a model of the man.
Naturally. What other explanation could there be? And it was this detective's arm that was pulled off by the man on the floor in the special exhibit, wasn't it? Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with the particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle, almost in fact, as if he were a waxwork.
Oh, but you...
Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madame. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe! The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag. A killer policeman called Ottermole, was it? Was he well known?
It was all over the papers last year, but I can't say I know what he looks like. It's a very low price, though. Threepence isn't much money.
Enough for a few measly hours of gas in Mr. Garridub's delightful lodgings, in fact. So, this is the special killer taken from the special exhibit. Is it? The waxwork that somebody stole from the museum and tried to ransom for 200 pounds? Is this crusty old killer policeman Ottermole? Really?
Perhaps we should have a good look around again and see if there's another idea crops up.
Well, his leg sure is switching. Look at this! The old man's tapping his foot like crazy.
He seems to be fast asleep, though.
He's not tapping his foot consciously then? So you mean...
It must be a twitch.
Never mind that. The point is, waxworks don't tap their feet.
Or twitch.
And look at his arm, too. We've seen a scarf like that somewhere else around here, haven't we?
Take that!
The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious twitch. Even the most realistic waxworks do not exhibit a twitch. In other words, this splendid old man is in fact a genuine member of Scotland Yard. slight shift in your choice of adjectives then. And there you have it. Well, Madame de Spells.
Well, what? It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come in the first place. He is clearly fatigued. He is sound asleep.
But then, what's this tag about showing a price of 3 pence? No doubt the price tag of the muffler which the old Bobby purchased recently at a local market. And I presume you observed the scarf on his arm. Does that not strike you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the secret sign used by detectives to show that some criminal activity is currently underway.
Of course, because, as you know, there has been just such criminal activity happening here. As you deduced from the very beginning, Detective.
So, it would seem that we finally arrive at the truth. The waxwork of the especially ruthless killer from the special exhibit has been kidnapped! And Scotland Yard are already investigating. But the model's whereabouts remain a mystery. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. I wonder if the wax figure was stolen as a part of the teleportation thing that happened. Just a thought. I'll keep that bench put on my idea shelf.
All sorts of people visit my museum here. Men and women, young and old. Sometimes they just drop in for a short time on their way back from the pub. I welcome them all. But if anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly. Anyway. Maybe rubs my beard. Your great deduction was even more enchanting than I had been led to believe.
It was a pleasure, my dear madame. I'm gratified that you enjoyed the spectacle. And as for your rough customer, I've no doubt he'll regain consciousness shortly and return home. What concerns me more is the waxwork from the special display. It was indeed genuinely abducted.
Yes, tragically it was.
Then I would ask you to recount to us the events surrounding the stolen waxwork. In as much detail as possible, if you would please.
Very well. But after I have told you what I know, I must insist that you return to your work.
Fair enough. The talents of a great detective should be put to better use, I feel. But as you wish.
Whew, all that just to get a few more dialogue lines. I still really like her design. She's really cute. And then like the ponytail and everything was really nice. I like that. Very cute design.
Tell us more about the stolen waxwork, please.
It was some days ago now that when I came in here one morning.
She is really cute. Yeah, I'm glad we agree.
I immediately noticed that a waxwork was missing from the special exhibit here. It is your most prominent display, so that's why the curtains were closed. And I found the ransom note that in its place.
The culprit must have broken in during the night and taken it then.
So this waxwork that was stolen, it was a model of some horrible criminal, I suppose. Of a particularly horrible criminal, in fact. The killer who left a more profound scar in society than any other, I would say. The Professor.
Not a name I've heard of. So, Mr. Naruhodo, it seems the circle is complete.
Sorry? The Professor case happened around the same time I was born, didn't it?
Indeed it did, Iris. 10 years ago, A series of murders that rocked the capital. 10 years ago. Yes, at exactly the time that Baron von Zieks graduated from university, in fact. What? Surely he's not saying.
So the big event that changed Mr. Reaper's life?
As you've surmised, it was the professor case. Who was the professor then?
Ooh, it's getting juicy. The full circle.
It was a series of gruesome murders that had all of London gripped in terror a decade ago. After 5 victims were killed, the man was arrested and put to death.
And now he's immortalized here in wax for all Londoners to admire and enjoy. Though, of course, he happens to be absent and present on account of the abduction. But I don't understand. How is all this related to Lord Van Zieks? You must first understand, my dear fellow, why it is that the professor earned such infamy. It was due to the victims he chose, some of Whitehall's finest.
What do you mean, Hurley?
Those murdered by the professor were some of the highest members of the British aristocracy. Oh, members of the nobility, even royalty. It sent shockwaves through the country's administration.
Members of the... wait, of course! What Professor Harebrain said.
Lord Van Zieks is from a family with noble blood.
Oh gosh.
It was the 5th victim that led to the professor's arrest. The last of the killer's prey was a young noble by the name of Clint Van Zieks.
No. I don't believe it. Van Zieks? Oh shit.
I'm sure you can piece together the rest for yourself. In the wake of his older brother's murder, the young Barrack pursued a career as a prosecutor, and eventually became the Reaper we know today. I had no idea Lord Van Zieks had such a tragic past. Well, I'm afraid that's all I can say on the matter, for the time being at least. After all, I have work to do. As a waxwork exhibit.
I'm afraid I have to excuse myself as well.
Oh yes, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involved you coming to visit me here. Oh, him. Oh.
It's been too long. It really has. I'm delighted to see you, Barrack.
It's been 10 years, and here we are, meeting in a prison of all places.
I can't forgive myself for what happened to Mr. Asman. I just can't. I still can't believe it could happen.
Tomorrow, the court will decide.
Yes. I have a young Eastern man acting for my defense. He seems reliable enough, though. It was an accident. A terrible accident. He assures me he can prove it.
I must warn you.
Oh, I know. I've heard already. You're going to be prosecuting, aren't you?
Yes.
Since I returned to England, I've heard lots of stories. Barrack, are you really?
What?
Never mind. I know that you have my best interest at heart.
My friend is on trial. I wouldn't entrust it to anybody else.
Of course, I fully understand. Thank you, Barrack.
Until tomorrow, then. I'll see you in court.
Interesting. Oh my god, it's been 3 hours and 20 minutes. We finally got to the stopping point. Okay. Good shit. Alright, we finished investigation part 1. That was really long, actually. That was probably the longest investigation section I've had in a while, so... I've heard from Kiro that the game gets incredibly long from this point on, so... I am very curious. Thank you! But yeah, I guess we're back in the present. We're back in the present time because the last case was all. I mean, the last episode was like all basically a between case that we never knew about from the first game, so it was all back stuff. So yeah, I did it. But yeah, this did add to more to the widespread mystery that the game's been putting out. So it is having me ponder a few things and some of the mysterious things like the wax figure missing and all that. I wonder if it's going to be coming up in this case or if it's going to be coming up later. That's my question. But yeah, really curious how this episode's going to go. It is only the midway point of the game, which surprises me that it's this juicy for the plot. So yeah, I can't wait to do it next week. Continue on. Drago Conspiracy Board meme. Exactly. That's me. That's me in this. That's me in 14. That's me everywhere. I was originally gonna maybe stream some Pokemon stuff, but I think it might be a good point for me to stop streaming for today. I think I deserve to eat, and then I can do my Pokemon stuff offline. I did my first 15 matches for the online tournament that's going on because because Pokemon usually does like some fun internet tournaments that like don't really do anything. Like they don't give you like points to enter the championship or anything, but sometimes they're just for fun. So I entered the tournament and I did my 15 matches for the day 1 last night, and that took a while and it was a lot of brain power. So it might be better to not stream that. Yeah. Yeah, eat and rest up. Thank you for streaming. Oh my god, good job. Sorry, I'm delayed in reply about this. No worries, Goldie. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate the company. But yeah, I'm gonna eat and then do some stuff and then probably work on my Pokemon match stuff. So let me go find someone to raid, and I think it's Kiro because he's the only one who's up, I think, at this moment. So that sounds perfect. So yeah, I'm gonna do my best. Thank you, Goldie. Alright. I will leave you all in the care of Kiro. He's playing Octopath Traveler 2. From what I heard, Octo's 2 is really good, and I can't wait to play that eventually. So, yeah, maybe I don't know if I'll do it on stream. We'll see. But I do want to play it eventually. But yeah, have a good time with Kiro. I leave you in his care. Good night. Yay!